the first myth. In Cool Edge, Sim Silver can walk on water. So in the new Cool Edge world, Silver has let us know that the flow of time is broken. Furthermore, if a character ends up jumping into the water, he will freeze and then you die. But a new Sim Silver exotic skin has just been added to the game. So what would happen in theory if we try to go into the water as him? Well, let's test it out. All right, new Silver skin. Let's see what happens. Let's go into the water. Goodbye, Silver. Oh, never mind. It looks like Silver is able to actually walk on the water and not freeze. Interesting. Well, it looks like that myth has been confirmed. In Cool Edge, if you try to go out of bounds, there's a mechanic that will force your tornado to nosedive. It wouldn't be a Sonic Speed Simulator Mythbusters if we didn't try to do some funny out of bounds stuff. So the first step is to equip our tornado. I'm using this tornado. It's kind of the first one that was equipped in my inventory, so it is what it is. Not necessarily the biggest fan, but let's try to go out of bounds and let's see what happens. And oh my goodness, he just nosedived. Wait, it's actually real. They do not want us flying our tornado out of bounds, but it looks like that myth is confirmed. Here's the next myth. Silver the Hedgehog skins cannot fly. So recently in Sonic Speed Simulator, there's been a concerted effort to give these characters game-accurate abilities such as Knuckles gliding, Tails flight, Shadow's chaos spheres, etc., etc. While Silver certainly has a lot of cool in-game abilities, like his telekinesis, or more importantly, his ability to fly, as far as Silver the Hedgehog goes, this hasn't really been a thing for him in Sonic Speed Simulator until we try this. So now Silver, if we jump, boost in midair, now he has the ability to fly. So the base Silver skin can now fly, almost like a super skin. It's kind of it's almost OP in a way, right? I mean, he's got to be the most OP regular skin. But it looks like the myth that Silver skins cannot fly is busted. The new update has added it to the game. Here's the next myth. Sim Silver is resistant to freezing with Eggman's lasers. So we've kind of already determined that Sim Silver can just walk on this ice water without freezing. Perhaps he has some type of cold resistance. But we'll need to theory craft this and put this to the test a little more. And we will fast travel over to the Emerald Hill boss battle to take on Dr. Eggman. And the reason why is because he has a freezing ability. So let's test it out. Let's see just how resistant to freezing you really are, Silver. I mean, you can walk on water or ice or whatever, but can you resist the freezing lasers? Here it is. Boom. Ooh, it looks like I am frozen. He's not like encapsulated in the ice, but he does get hit by Eggman's lasers. So it looks like that myth is busted. Here's the next myth. Grindshoe Sonic is the only skin in the game that features the bounce ability. One of the greatest, if not the greatest platforming abilities in all of Sonic games is the bounce attack. This was introduced in Sonic Adventure 2 as an upgradable power-up, and it really helps you just like kind of navigate these platforms, and it just allows for a lot more smooth movement. This ability was added into Sonic Speed Simulator a couple of months back with the Grindshoe Sonic skin, just to keep it true to the SA2 roots. And honestly, it's just really cool that they added this. I love when they do little fan service things. You'll find a ton of it in SSS. In terms of fan service, SSS is like bar none to any other Sonic game. Recently, a codex collection log type system, completionist kind of thing was added to the game. I think it's a really cool system, and if you complete all of the main quests in the game, you'll unlock the Sim Sonic skin. I will say they bear a lot of resemblance to the AI racers from Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. So if you play as this new skin, if you jump up, press the bounce button, and it looks like this skin also possesses the bounce ability. So it's pretty cool that they added this into the game. Like, I like that multiple skins have it, in particular the Grindshoe skin, but the myth that only Grindshoe Sonic can use the bounce ability is busted. Here's the next myth. Sim Silver cannot go underwater. So yes, it's true that Sim Silver can walk on the water, but can he go under the water? I think it's time to test it out. So we're going to go on to here, and we got to figure out a way to get under here, even though he could walk on top of it. So I think if we spin dash, boom, he goes underwater and he can actually freeze. So it looks like that myth is busted. Here's the next myth. There's a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer reference in Cool Edge. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of the most iconic Christmas films of all time. And you'll notice scattered all around Cool Edge, you'll see these reindeer. You also have to take them out for a side quest. So we know that they're scattered around here, but surely there isn't a Rudolph reference, right? Oh, it looks like the first thing we'll have to do is kind of explore this map a little bit. Maybe if we go into this cave right here. There it is. Wait, no way. There it is. We have a red-nosed reindeer in here. Clearly, this is a reference to the iconic 1964 film, so the myth is confirmed. Here's the next myth. The penguin will only wave to you when you walk by them in Cool Edge. One of the best parts about this update is these penguins. Look how cool they are. These come directly from Sonic Unleashed. So we got a couple over here. What happens if we walk up to them? Hey, he's waving at me. There we go. All right, so why don't we walk back a little bit? Let's go like over here, and let's kind of just watch them for a little bit. So you'll notice that they're kind of just standing there. They're not doing the wave. They're just, it's almost like a standoff between these two guys. We let a little time pass, so now let's see what happens if we walk up to them, just to confirm this directly. There it is. He's clapping his hands, and he's doing the little wave. He's doing the little dance. Looks like he's excited to see me, I guess, but that myth is confirmed. Charmy B can float on water. Charmy B, one of those characters that you either love or you hate. We are in Cool Edge with Charmy, so let's see if he could float on the water. And, ooh, he actually can. That's pretty impressive. I didn't expect that. Myth is confirmed. Supersonic is invincible to freezing in Cool Edge. One of the things that Supersonic is known for in this game is being invincible, and in particular, as demonstrated in the Eggman boss battle, he's invincible to being frozen. So, given that this is established, this should be the case in Cool Edge as well, right? So, we have the character right here. We have the frozen water down there. Let's drop dash, and nope. For whatever reason, Supersonic is not invincible to freezing in Cool Edge, so the myth is busted, although it's a little inconsistent, right? Here's the next myth. There's a death barrier above the map that will freeze any character that tries to pass it. So let's swap back to Supersonic for a second because I need to test something out here. Perhaps if you haven't been keeping up in the series, we have a bonus myth for you guys. Supersonic can fly now, by the way, so you can actually control his height and he will maintain his position in the air. We can go down, it doesn't really matter. But what happens if we try to fly to the top of the map? Well, if we go all the way up here, and boom, just like that, he gets frozen. Oh, I'm still going. Nope, never mind. It looks like there is a frozen barrier that we can't pass if we try to leave the map horizontally. And it also looks like we can't do it vertically either. So the myth is confirmed. You can still break into Snow Valley in the new update. If you weren't around at the time, a couple of years ago in the original Sonic Speed Simulator, there was a world called Snow Valley. But after the 2.0 update, it was removed from the game and no longer accessible for many years. I never covered this in a video, but a couple of months ago, they made it possible to sneak back into Snow Valley. You just have to do a little bit of glitching and going outside of the map, kind of like the good old days to access it. But after the new Time Fractured update, it seems like some of the older worlds have gotten some adjustments. So is it still possible to make it to this world? Well, we have to test it out. In order to properly test this out, let's use our new Supersonic skin and start flying out of here. Let's get out of the map. We're gonna have to explore a little bit, just like the good old days of 4 years ago. Can you guys, 4 years ago is kind of crazy, I will say. But if you go down here, it looks like the old obbies are still in the game, I believe. It looks like it's true. Snow Valley's there. I just don't know how to get in there. You have to pay 40,000 rings to get in there. All right, well, I've unlocked it. Zone unlocked Snow Valley. You know what? It's in the fast travel, so we're good. So yes, World 4 Snow Valley from the original Speed Simulator 1.0 is still in the game and it's still accessible. Some of you probably didn't even know that this was a thing because, I haven't been covering it, but the myth is confirmed. Here's the next myth. After completing the Fractured Time event, you cannot return to the original beta chemical plant. So prior to completing the event, you will notice that chemical plant looks very different than how it looked in the original Speed Simulator. From my understanding, this was the beta version that wasn't released in the actual game. You could get here via glitch, and this version was also showcased during the Sonic Central in 2022. So we haven't seen it in almost 4 years. After you complete the event, you will notice that there is a portal to chemical plant. So what happens if we go in? Well, would you look at that? The OG chemical plant has been restored, so no longer is it chemical plant fractured. So I guess that myth is confirmed. Or is it? Let's first head into New York City. And the reason why is because this is actually how you get to chemical plant in the first place. First thing we'll do is go into the lab underneath like the spawn area. We will head into this little room and would you look at that? Chemical plant fractured. And it looks like we're back in the beta chemical plant. So you won't see it at spawn. And I don't know if this is a glitch or if this is intentional, but it looks like you can get back to here. So that myth is busted. Here's the next myth. All of the Sim skins can walk on water. As established earlier in the video, we found out that Sim Silver can walk on water. But what happens if we swap over to Sim Knuckles? He's standing on water and he falls in. We have Sim Shadow. Surely he can float. And nope, he can't float either. All right, how about Sim Tails? Nope, Sim Tails cannot float either. We got Sim Amy. How about we try going into the water a little more carefully? Nope. It looks like none of the Sim skins other than Silver can walk on water. So the myth is busted. Here's the next myth. The Sim characters are able to breathe underwater. There certainly definitely are some interesting things that pertain to the sim skins and water. So let's test out and see if they can breathe. What better place to go underwater than the actual underwater map? No place. Alrighty, we got Sim Silver. He walks on water, but we can go under. And yeah, it looks like there's no oxygen meter. So Sim Silver can breathe underwater. That's cool. Let's go to Sim Sonic and let's see what happens to him. Looks like he obviously doesn't walk on the water, but he is able to breathe underwater. How about Sim Knuckles? First of all, look at my boy's glide. But yeah, he can glide underwater. It's kind of interesting. Is that supposed to be a thing? I don't think it is. Is that another myth confirmed? Anyways, yeah, it looks like he can breathe underwater too. So from what it looks like, every single sim skin can breathe underwater. The myth is confirmed. There's a day and night crystal on the top of Cool Edge. So next to Tails Workshop in Cool Edge, you'll notice this crystal over here. And if you walk up to the crystal and hold down the Q key, it becomes nighttime. But this isn't the only crystal in the map. There's actually a couple you can find by running around. But is there one curiously placed up top? All right, so it looks like this giant platforming area over here seems to have what we need. So let's go up top. And if we go all the way up here, what do we got? Oh, is there a couple penguins? They're like guarding this crystal over here. But if you touch this, it goes back to daytime. So yeah, looks like the myth is confirmed. Doom Shadow cannot doom surf on the ice water in Cool Edge. All right, step 1, swap over to Doom Shadow. Step 2, let's jump down onto the water. What do you got, Doom Shadow? And oh, he just got frozen. All right, is that true? Let's see. No, it looks like he actually can doom surf on the ice water. I don't know why that didn't work the first time, but it looks like the myth is busted.